let's look at the limit node. So under data transformation, we've got limit. Now this is a fairly simple node, and by default it's going to just say 1 for max items, and it's going to say keep the first item. So we've got a list here of a couple of things. It's just going to keep the first one. You can see it's object value, number 2. And I might just change that to be number 1, so it's really easy to see. Object value 1. So we've got object value 1 in there, or we might say let's keep the last item. So if there were 3, and let's add 3 items so we can see how that works. Object value key 2. Just copy that. I'll just open up the window so it's a bit easier to see. Copy from there. Number 3. And we'll jump back. So now we're getting the third item, because that's the last item in the list. Let's just go back to split out. I edit that incorrectly. Object key 2. Okay, yeah. So because I had the same name there for the key, so we'll put it 1. Object value 2. It's a bit easier to see in this one. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, so I was overwriting that second one. So that's something to be careful of with the key names. Okay, so now we're back to here. So we've got the 3 items coming through, and we're keeping the last item. So we can see that's object value 3 there. And then for the first one, we're only getting the first one, number 1. So all other ones will get ignored. Now, if we say 2 here, and we say the first items we execute, we'll get 1 and 2. And here, if we say last items now, we should get 2 and 3. We do. So we can have a batch size that is different. Doesn't have to be 1. Most, like pretty much 99% of the time, you'll be using the limit to limit it to 1 item at a time. But you may be using batch sizes for some other reason. And this is really handy when you're using a loop straight after it, so that you can limit the number of items going into that loop if you want to. So you might have a loop node here, and only 1 item is going to go into that loop and loop around, because we're limiting it to 1. It's often very useful on the done for a loop, so that no matter how many times that loop has run, when it comes out of it, if we take the limit out here, it's going to run 3 times. So we loop 3 times and we go through here, but out of the end of it, we're only going to have 1 item coming out. So we're not going to continue passing on the fact that we've got 3 items, 3 loops, and then after the loop is done, 3 iterations here. So we're going to limit it to 1. Now let's have a look. We've got the list here. We're going to go back to data transformation, and we're going to have a look at the summarize node. Now this has a lot of options. So we'll add it, and by default execute it with nothing. So we could do quite a few different aggregations here. We've got append, we've got average, concatenate, which is joining things together. We've got count unique, then we've got maximum, minimum, and a sum. So it's kind of like the functions or formulas that you'd be used to using in Excel. And so some of them will only be working with number fields, but generally all of them, I think. The concatenate one will work with string values. So let's do that and just execute. Concatenated string has just joined them all together for us. But generally, I think the rest are all number-based. Append will work as well, like this. You can see it's changed it for what are we doing? We're doing strings. We've got test2. So let's just start at the top with append. So we've got append. We're just appending the string. We get this kind of a result, including empty values. At the moment, I don't have any, so that's not going to make a difference. Then we've got the standard under options. We've got disabling dot notation. Then we've got output format. So each split into a separate item. That's what it is by default. And we've also got all splits in a single item, which for this one is going to look exactly the same, because we're not splitting anything at the moment here. So let's split it. Append the string, so fields to split by. What does that look like? You can see we've got the appended string, which we can't rename this one, which is a little bit annoying for that one, but we've got these ones, and now we've got this string test2. If we change it to all splits in a single item, we're going to have underneath it, underneath the test2, we've now got the appended string. So this is kind of the grouping by option here. So you can see the difference there. For this one, it's going to put them underneath, but for this one, you just see it changes to group by versus split by. So you have a little bit more control over it. But yeah, we can't seem to, in this particular node, we don't have a way to rename that one like we do in some of the other ones. So that's append. It's pretty straightforward. Concatenate is pretty similar, but it does add them here kind of one after another into a single string. So that's the difference here. If I just jump back to append. So append is joining them together in an array, but concatenate is actually joining them directly into a single string here. And then we've got the field to split by. It's going to do the same thing. Otherwise, it's going to be the level above. It's grouping by those ones. And again, we don't get an option here to rename this, but we do get a separator option of how we're going to separate them. So at the moment, it's defaulting to comma there. We might have comma and a space. At the moment, you can see there's no spaces here. So we execute that. Now we've got a comma and a space, which makes it a little bit more easily readable for us. We've got a new line, which is going to insert the \n character there, which means new line. We've got none, so they'll just be glued right together with no spaces or no characters in between. We've got a space option, so just spaces there, and we've got other, where you can specify exactly what it is. Maybe you want a pipe character like that, or a tilde, depending on what it is, however you want to format. And now we can add another field if we want to at the moment. So this is this first field, this top one up here for concatenate, but we could do multiple things. So we might want to append it as well. So let's do an append of the string at the same time as doing a concatenated string. So we've got both formats here. We've got the appended string and a concatenated string. So maybe we need it in both formats, and it's grouped by in this particular version as well. Maybe we need all of those options together for the downstream nodes. Now let's have a look. Let's remove this aggregation here. Let's get rid of this one. Change those back to the default options. And let's have a look at average. So if we run it with a string, it's going to say null because it can't do an average of a string. But let's put in a number here and run it again. And it's going to give us average 5 because they all equal 5. So there's no real number there. And same kind of thing if we do any other data type, Boolean, null, array, it's going to be null. I've got the null value, empty string, and we've got object. So we're only going to work for the number fields for average, and it does exactly what you would expect. It will just average the numbers. So if we had a 1, a 3, and a 5, it would return a 3 in here. Count, a little bit different. It's going to tell us how many times this is appearing. So now we know that it's 3 times in here that field is appearing, and that will work on, so that is actually another one. So count will work on strings because it's just counting the number of them. It's not actually looking at the value. For that one, that's count, pretty straightforward. Counting unique. So this one is at the moment, so now you can, this one shows this example here. There's only actually one unique number here because these all are 5. So the only unique number is the number 5. So that counts as 1. And if we do the same thing with the string, for example, it's going to say the same thing because it's all the same throughout it. But if we use the object one, we should have 3 here because the value there is object value 1, object value 2, object value 3. So the unique count is 3, which is going to be the same as the count. That's those ones. And then we've got maximum. If we just do it with that, we'll get object value 3. So this is interesting. So the max will actually work with strings. I don't think I've ever used it in that way. It would be quite weird to use it for strings. But for number, it's going to return 5 because they're all 5. Let's see what it does with array. So it can actually work. Yeah, it does too. Okay, so it looks at the array. Boolean would be a weird thing to look at max on as well. So generally it's going to be number. But that's really good to know that it works for strings as well, and it's finding that. So we'll get the same thing with min. It should find object value 1, which it does. So that'll be effectively just sorting alphabetically and then working out what the minimum or the first one in the list sorted alphabetically is that. So yeah, that's interesting. That's funny. And then sum. So not going to work if we try to add up the objects. We can't do that, and we can't add up the strings, of course. So, but number, we should be able to add it and get 15, which we do. So that one's pretty straightforward as well. That's it for the summarize node. It's quite handy for doing those kind of mathematical calculations that you just need looking at the data that's coming in and having it kind of clearly listed out here as opposed to in a code node.